Monkey? I love this monkey. But what is up, fellas? RJ from Rapidly Fitness here. Today we are discussing muscular imbalances, what they are, how they affect your life, and how you can avoid them. With 5 ways to prevent muscular imbalances and improve them if you have them. Number 1, most important to prevent, is exercise frequency and intensity equilibrium. If you have a big imbalance between how often you train certain muscle groups that interact with one another, and you don't train them anywhere near as intensely as one another, over time you will see great imbalances that will affect your training and your daily life. Chest and shoulders. You're training them fairly equal in terms of how often you train them. That's the way to prevent muscular imbalances because the frequency is similar, as well as managing the intensity. If you're constantly setting PRs on your bench press, but you're not even attempting them for your shoulders, of course you're going to come up with an imbalance. Your chest is going to be much stronger than your shoulders. That's the case with me because early on in my career, I neglected my shoulders quite a bit, as well as my back. And I developed several muscular imbalances that not only affected my aesthetics in terms of bodybuilding, but also my daily life. I wasn't as athletic back then. I couldn't perform my job tasks as well back then. I did a lot of overhead stuff, hammering and stuff like that back in the day. And you really notice it, in terms of your physique and your performance, like I said. So this is why in every good program you see, especially programs for beginners, this is very important. If you average out how frequently they hit their chest and their shoulders and their back and their legs over like the course of an entire month, you'll see that they do about the exact same number of sets, as well as they train them very close in terms of intensity. That's simply to keep all things balanced and to prevent these imbalances, is to Damn. Number 3, incorporate unilateral exercises. Aesthetically speaking, in terms of a bodybuilding context, let's say one arm is bigger than the other. That's a very common problem people have. What's your solution to that? Unilateral training. Instead of curling with a barbell and working both at once, you might do a couple extra sets just to help that other arm catch up, doing a single arm dumbbell curl. Or in terms of a core muscular imbalance, let's say your right side is much stronger and even a little bit tight compared to your left side, you would do more on your left side. You're standing on that left foot, maybe doing an overhead press or standing on a BOSU ball if you're in like a physical therapy office, with supervision of course, because if you fall and bust your ass on a BOSU ball, you're not gonna have a good time. But essentially what unilateral training does is it engages more of the stabilizing muscles. Because the weight isn't evenly distributed between both hands or both legs, it forces certain sections of the body to work alone pretty much. Therefore, you're increasing the fatigue in a sense because you're getting more out of less weight because you're not engaging your entire body. That weight is not evenly distributed, which basically allows you to correct any imbalances affecting one side versus the other in terms of your arms, legs, or even individual pecs or your lats. Unilateral training, incorporating at least 3 sets every workout, I would say. 3 sets of some kind of unilateral exercise every workout for whatever particular muscle group you're working that day. I believe that will keep you in shape and prevent things from getting too unbalanced or imbalanced. Which would be the appropriate word to use there? I don't know. Damn, I keep burping. Number 4, don't forget the small muscles. But not necessarily also the small muscles, but also just the less glamorous muscles, such as your triceps versus your biceps. The biceps get all the love, but the triceps is really what makes up most of the mass of the arm and what gives you that size. A lot of people go wrong because they overtrain their biceps and undertrain their triceps. Let's say you do 10 sets a week for your biceps, but only 3 for your triceps, which, you know, some people, they're lucky if they even do 1 set a week for their triceps, and they wonder why their arms look like crap. That's the reason why. There's a massive gap with these people between how often, how hard they train one muscle versus literally the antagonist muscle to that helps that muscle perform its functions as it's needed. Without your triceps, your biceps couldn't perform. Without your biceps, your triceps couldn't perform. Therefore, it's important to keep these two muscles, these muscle groups, in balance and working in unison with each other. So managing your frequency and intensity in terms of how you train those is very important. But for the smaller muscles, your rotator cuff, your rear delts, all the muscles that make up the rotator cuff, even your calves, if we're talking about a bodybuilding context, a lot of people don't train their calves. It's important for both your health and your aesthetics to train these muscles and to train them frequently and hard. Jeff Cavalier, who I lost some respect for him, to be honest. That's another video. He had some really good advice on rotator cuff training. He said, for every set of pushing that you do in a workout, you should do 1 set of face pulls or some kind of rotator cuff exercise. And I think that's great advice because literally it goes back to what we talked about earlier, frequency and intensity equilibrium. As often as you do pushing is as often as you want to do pulling. It's that simple. So yes, number 4, don't forget those small muscles like your rotator cuff that keep your shoulders healthy and safe. And don't forget those aesthetically important muscles in a bodybuilding context, such as your triceps and calves. Number 5, the final tip for preventing and managing muscular imbalances, and maybe the most important tip. Number 5, switch hands when you're fapping, okay? Keep that tallywhacker balanced. Okay, fellas, this was RJ from Unilateral Fitness. Like, share, subscribe, comment so we can help spread honest fitness information and maybe spread some cheeks along the way. So, take it easy, guys, and salutations.